this. Salutations, painters. Do you struggle getting it up? Is your life slowly turning into a desperate quest for a single spark of enjoyment? Today's subjects answered yes one too many times to these questions. Emperor's children, Infractors, are the cannon fodder of the army, being little more than your average marine with a fancy combat knife, a weird outfit, and a desire to party. Everyone has their opinions on Chaos Gods, but if I had to go from the grim darkness of the real world to the grim darkness of the far future, Slaanesh is probably the Chaos God I will fall to. I've got to be honest, if I'm gonna work as an average Imperial citizen, it would take about 3 days tops before I consider losing my sanity and soul just to feel something vaguely resembling a good time. Since I went a little basic by building them per the instructions, the paint job is about twice as wacky as my usual style to make up for it. I already used bright pink in my World Eaters of all things, for which you can watch the video after this one, so I had to come up with something different, yet equally unhinged. Airbrush haters might want to grab a paper bag right now, because this is going to hurt in more than a single way. The models were airbrush primed white, because that's how heretical we are going to get on this one, which was followed by an airbrush pre-shaded fluorescent purple. And to crank up the nails on the chalkboard effect that this process will give some of you, I screwed up the camera settings. So enjoy this blown out, overexposed footage. If you know how to color grade, let me know I'm an idiot in the comments below. My white stuff covered marines were now turned into something that would scare you under a black light. I then moved on to base coating the armor. This was achieved with yellow paint. Even better would have been fluorescent yellow, but since I realized that after writing the script, it will have to wait for another episode. The next step was the base coating of the armor trim in black, which I speed ran through the power of editing. Yep. After I came back to my senses, I gave the flayed skin a flesh wash just to make it look slightly different. There will be enough crap going on with this model that this will not matter. Although after writing this part of the script, I went back and repainted my flayed skin with an actual flesh tone before giving it the wash. The next step for the yellow armor was to paint on some feline fur patterns on the flat panels. For this squad, I went with cheetah, creating a series of black spots of various shapes all over the place. That's right, we are going full-on 80s hair metal with this faction. One quick oil wash and in the joints of the armor, and it was time to get some dark silver on the guns and metal trinkets to get some color variation in there. In preparation for another fun part, I gave the weapons, bottles, eye lenses a quick base coat of pastel blue in preparation for, well, more glow effects. The glows were achieved with contrast paint, brushed on the lenses, cables, bottles, syringes, and decorative knives. I forgot about the weapons and decided to start edge highlighting the armor trim. Man, I really am going insane. I kept this to the more visible edges because of realism, time constraints, and above it all, complete and total inability to paint in the heavy metal style. I also decided to give them some gem effects on the shoulder spheres, as well as the icon of Access back banner. I achieved something half decent by applying a quick succession of 3 contrast paints over the pastel blue base coat, namely Black Templar, Aculean Green, and Aethermatic Blue, which is the glow color for just about everything else. 1 dot of titanium white and a coat of gloss varnish later, I had something that vaguely resembles a gemstone. I hope that paperback from earlier was not too far away, because that same Aethermatic Blue contrast paint was airbrushed on the melee weapons in a rather typical alternating gradient, followed by a pastel blue edge highlight. Since the whole thing was not psychedelic enough as it is, I moved on to the hair and cloth, which was all painted in the same way. The base color was a saturated purple, which was highlighted by mixing in increasing amounts of fluorescent pink, all the way to a pure fluorescent pink highlight. For basing, the models were removed from their bases, and the area around their footprints was painted in pastel blue. I followed this with a blend of crackle paste in some areas and normal texture paste in others. Some mandatory rocks and skulls were added and base coated in a dark magenta, because the acid trip that is this paint job is not yet over. The dark jade base coat, trying to avoid the recesses that were cracked to maintain the off-white color below showing through. Some ground up blue sidewalk chalk was then added to the base, and when I finally sobered up, I was left with this. Thank you for watching yet another horrible video of mine. It has been truly hilarious to one-up myself with just about every part of this unit, and it gave me plenty of inspiration to keep this series going. Remember to leave a like, subscribe, and share the video so that we can please Slanesh as we spread this debauchery across the hobby. In the next Emperor's Children video, we crank it up to 11.